Have you ever felt like the world around you is just getting crazier and crazier? Like everything is spiraling out of control? Well, thousands of years ago, there was a man who felt that way, and his name was Noah. Back then, the world had become a pretty dark place. People were constantly fighting, being cruel, and just not living the way they were meant to. It got so bad that God felt a deep sorrow for how things had turned out. But amidst all that chaos, there was one man who stood out. Noah. He was a good man, righteous in his time, and he walked faithfully with God. So, God decided to hit the reset button on creation, but he wanted to save Noah and his family. He came to Noah with a plan. A wild, unbelievable plan. He said, "Noah, I'm going to send a great flood to cover the entire earth, but I want you to build an ark." And this wasn't just any boat. God gave him specific instructions. It had to be made of cypress wood, sealed with pitch inside and out. It was to be massive, 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Imagine a modern cargo ship, but built by hand. It would have 3 decks, a window, and 1 big door in the side. Can you imagine what Noah's neighbors thought? Here's this guy, building a gigantic boat in the middle of dry land, talking about a flood that's going to cover the whole world. They probably laughed at him, called him crazy. But Noah didn't listen to the doubters. He trusted God. 4 years, he and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, worked tirelessly, sawing wood, hammering nails, and sealing every crack. And the ark wasn't just for his family. God gave him another huge task. You are to bring into the ark 2 of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. Birds, cattle, every kind of animal that moved along the ground. A pair of each would come to him. So, not only was he a shipbuilder, he was now the world's first zookeeper. Picture the scene, a long, orderly line of animals, from tiny hummingbirds to massive elephants, all making their way toward the ark. It must have been an incredible sight. Finally, the day came. The ark was finished. The animals were all aboard. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives all went inside. And then God himself shut the door. For 7 days, they waited inside. Then the rain began. It didn't just sprinkle. The Bible says the springs of the great deep burst forth and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. It rained and rained and rained for 40 days and 40 nights. The water rose higher and higher, covering the houses, the trees, and eventually the tallest mountains. Everything on dry land was swept away. The only safe place in the entire world was inside that floating wooden box, bobbing on the surface of the water. For 150 days, the water covered the earth. Imagine being inside that ark, hearing the constant sound of water, feeling the gentle rocking, surrounded by the sounds and smells of all those animals. It must have been a test of faith and patience every single day. But God did not forget Noah. He sent a wind to blow over the earth. And slowly, the waters began to recede. After many more weeks, the ark finally came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Still, they had to wait. Noah sent out a raven, which flew back and forth. Then he sent a dove, but it came back because there was no place to land. A week later, he sent the dove out again, and this time, it returned in the evening with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak. It was a sign. The water was receding, and new life was beginning to grow. After another 7 days, he sent the dove out one last time, and it didn't return. The earth was drying out. When God finally said it was time, Noah opened the door of the ark. After more than a year, he, his family, and all the animals stepped out onto dry ground. They took their first breaths of fresh, clean air in a brand new world. The very first thing Noah did was build an altar and give thanks to God. He was so grateful for their salvation. And in response, God made a beautiful promise. not just to Noah, but to all of humanity and every living creature, for all generations to come, he said. Never again will I curse the ground because of humans, and never again will I destroy all living creatures with a flood. And as a sign of this everlasting covenant, this unbreakable promise, God set a rainbow in the clouds. So now, every time we see a rainbow arching across the sky after a storm, it's not just a beautiful display of color. It's a reminder of God's faithfulness, His mercy, and His promise to preserve life. It's a symbol of hope and a new beginning. Thanks for watching! If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next video. See you next time!